In this video, I'm going to show you the best thing that I've implemented at the beginning of a client journey to find their starting point, and that is an assessment week. And more specifically in this video is going to be a nutrition assessment week. So now I have probably worked with over 1,000 clients, and I can confidently say that this is the best way for me to find the starting point. I've used the calorie calculators, I've used many other ways to try and determine what a client needs at the beginning of their journey, and the assessment week beats them by a mile. And in this video, I'm going to explain to you exactly how I use it. And I'm also going to link in the show notes a copy to my assessment week in a Google Drive. So feel free to copy it and use it yourself. So my whole coaching philosophy is based around assessing and not guessing. This is why I got into functional medicine, and this is why I run blood tests with a lot of my clients, so I know exactly what their physiology needs. So the assessment week just kind of felt natural for me. So the reason I do an entire week is because often people will start the week doing really well and it kind of peters off later in the week. And when people get to the weekend, it can often just go completely off the rails. So it is good to see that. And at the end of the assessment week, I'll jump on a call with a client. So we'll do a Zoom call and I'll go over the entire week with them. And often when a client sees the week zoomed out, they can see the entire week. They can actually see themselves what they need to start changing. So I find it is a brilliant way to determine what someone's starting point is, and then I can see what I need to do to move them forward. So I'm going to go over an assessment week with you now. So this is my actual assessment week. This is what you'll have linked in the Google Drive in the show notes. So on one side, you have the input side of things. So on the, I'm going to say right hand side, we have the protein, carbs, and fats. So for people to determine what their protein, carbs, and fats are for the day, I do get them to track calories. So I'll either get them to use something like MyFitnessPal or Chronometer. So I'll get them to come onto their phone. I'll get them to add in exactly what they're eating throughout the week. So whether they are scanning barcodes or just simply typing it in, you might have to weigh some foods. It will be a bit of a pain in the ass, but I've always said that tracking your calories for a few weeks is the best thing you'll ever do for your nutrition, because you're going to learn so much about what is in food. Anyway, so I'll get them to track using either of the apps. They'll add all of their foods into the tracker, and then at the end of the day, they stick it into the assessment week. So they add in their protein, carbs, and fats, and the assessment week will work out the calories for them. And then on the other side of the tracker, we have the output side of things. So this is where we have their weight, this is where we have their steps, this is where I'll have their training and their cardio. If it's an athlete, then training and cardio might be different. We might use Whoop measurements or other measurements. But one side is input, one side is output. So I'll get them to type in all of their food so I can see roughly what calories they are eating throughout the week. I'll get them to type their weight in, so they'll weigh themselves every morning. So if you weigh yourself every morning in the same environment, use a toilet, wear the same thing so it's as accurate as possible. This way we can see what the calories you are consuming is doing to your body weight. So if you are losing weight, then you may be in a deficit. If you are maintaining your weight, then you may be at maintenance calories. And if you are gaining weight, then you're possibly in a surplus. So this is all brilliant information for me to have when I go over the assessment week and determine what we need to do based on the client's goals. And then obviously they add in their steps so I can see how active they are, and if they are training or if they are doing cardio, then that goes on the output side of things as well. And then at the bottom, we have the food diary. So we know what the protein, carbs, and fats are and what their total calories amount is, but the food diary allows me to see what those macronutrients and calories are comprised of. So if I'm seeing it's just full of bacon sandwiches and just a lot of processed food, then it's an easy change, right? We can start bringing in a few whole foods. So if I get to see what the foods are comprised of, then I can start making recommendations based on what they are actually eating. Rather than just doing a calorie calculator and giving somebody their macros, I get to show them what they are actually eating and then determine what we need to do to move them forward to their goal. So using the assessment week has been a game changer for me in my practice. And if you haven't used it, I would highly recommend trying it, because it is, or I have found it to be, the best way to find someone's starting point, and then we can move them on from there. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions, please drop them below. Cheers, guys.